Hi, I'm Les Cookson. I'm going to show you how to set up and use your camera Obscura. This is the top view camera Obscura with the mirror inside so that it bounces the image through the front and you view it up on the top. If you got the unfinished version that you put on your own lacquer or oil finish, just watch the video below and they'll give you some tips and tell you how to finish it and get to this point. So the first thing you're going to do is you take the plastic off of it and you're going to lift up the little lid shade here. After shipping and storage, sometimes it's best to kind of pull up on the bottom here. Kind of make sure it's loose on the bottom before you slide it up. And this comes all the way off. You can put it on and off, take it off as needed. Unpack it. You have a clear screen, user manual, the real glass, ground glass screen. Inside, remove the packing, get your lens, Fresnel lens. Alright, and so the first thing you want to do is inside there you have the mirror, and there is a clear plastic film over the mirror. So you want to catch that on the corner and peel that all the way off before you get started. That's there to protect the mirror, and you want to make sure you remove that before you get started. So you catch the corner of it, comes right off. Unpack the lens, which is the brass piece in this bubble wrap. Unwrap the plastic. And in there, you will have packaged 2 close-up lenses and the regular lens. Get that all out. And that's if you got the deluxe. If you got just the basic, you'll have just the one lens in there. I'll show you more about those lenses in a minute. We'll set those aside. Let's go over the screens. So the screens slide in the top here. Slide it in. Same with the clear plastic. Of course, you want to take the film off of both sides. Slides in the same way like that. In this little baggie, you got some business cards you can give away to friends who might be interested in getting their own camera Obscura, and also take a look at the other devices that I make. You have your Fresnel lens, and that is the magnifier, and that goes in like this. You have the slot in the back here. You put this in first, put it in the front, that slot, let it drop. Then you slide the screen over the top of it. Like that. The Fresnel lens is there to help you have a brighter, more fuller image. Without it, a lot of the brightness of the image is concentrated in the center of the ground glass. The Fresnel lens gives you a more even and distributed image. It's something that you can choose to use or not to use. It came with the deluxe. The basic doesn't have it. If you're trying to get a more old-fashioned, really dark around the edge look, you don't use it. But if you want to see a brighter, fuller image, you put the Fresnel lens in. And obviously, in any given lighting situation, you can put it in, see what it looks like, see if you like it, see if you don't, and use it whenever you want. Now let's talk about the lens. In the lens, on one end, there are some little rings that hold a lens in place in the lens tube itself. The lens tube is the brass tube. The glass piece inside is the lens, and there's these lens rings inside that hold the lenses in place. The lens that comes included in here is the standard lens, and you might need it might shake loose during shipping possibly. I'll take it out right now. To put the lens in, you just drop it in. down into the bottom till it rests on the lens ring that's in there. You put this other smaller ring in there, and then you press it, you tap it all the way around until it's tight. And when you're focusing with the lens you're going to use most often in your lens tube is a standard lens. It focuses on anything from a couple of feet away, 1 to 2 feet away, into infinity. And so that's going to be what you're using most of the time. And the basic rule of thumb is with any of the lenses, the further the lens is away from the screen, the closer objects will be in focus. So the image comes through here, bounces off the mirror, goes straight up. So here's your distance. So if I'm focusing on something closer, I want my lens to be on the outside of the lens tube. This way so you can see it. You put it in the hole in the front. You kind of push and twist, and then it twists in and out, and that's how you focus. Moves in and out. It changes as it moves in and out. It changes the distance between the lens and the screen, and that's where you get your focus. So I'm focusing on something close. You bring it out. You look at your image. Slide it in and out until it comes to a focus. And then if you want to get the lens even closer, because you're looking at something into the far distance, you can take the lens out, move it in so that the glass lens is on the inside, and then place it back in the hole again. Twist until it comes into focus. Just remember the rule of thumb, that the closer the lens is in the tube to the screen, the further the objects will be in focus. And it'll be clear when it's in focus. You can see it. It'll be blurry. You move it back and forth. Then it'll become crisp and clear. You'll see that you have your object in focus. It's important when you put the lens in, make sure you put it in straight. You don't want to come in crooked because that'll make it difficult to move in and out. Kind of give it a little twist as you push and pull, and it just should move freely but snug, so it's not going to move or shake or fall out. And all of these holes have been cut and sanded precisely to fit these lenses. But the problem is, depending on your humidity and other environmental factors of temperature, this hole can tighten up, the wood can shrink. And so with a piece of sandpaper, you just sand gently inside the hole, a little bit at a time, until the lens will move in and out smoothly. You don't want to sand too much, because obviously it's a lot easier to just sand out a little bit more than it is to put any back. But hopefully it'll fit perfect. If not, just know you can sand in here a little bit to make it slide freely. I have laid out here the different lenses. Here's the standard lens that comes with every camera Obscura, basic and deluxe. And with the deluxe you have these two close-up lenses. So let me explain their uses. Standard, as I said, 2 feet to infinity. Close-up lens, 5 inches to 9 inches away. Super close-up lens, 2 inches away. You're looking at things really close and you're blowing it up with this lens. And so to tell the difference, you see them laid out. When you look at them, you see this one's flattest, a little thicker. They clearly look different when you look at them, and the thinner it is, the further away things will be in focus, as a general sort of rule. So your thinnest one is your standard, a little bit thicker is your close-up, and the thickest is your super close-up. And to interchange these, you do it the same way that I showed you before with the lens. You pick any of the lenses, and you take it, and you can drop it down inside there. You can kind of put your finger through and catch it and help it drop softly down to the bottom. Center it in there, and you take your little ring there, put it on, and just tap it all the way around. Just start in one end and tap it all the way around until it's snug. Then it'll be in there snug. When you're focusing with these close-up lenses, it's the same concept. Like with this, the close-up lens, just the regular close-up lens. If you have it all the way out like this, that's when you're going to focus at 5 inches. And when I say focus at 5 inches, what I mean is, say those flowers are 5 inches away, that's when it's going to be in focus. Take it out, turn the lens the other way so the lens is on the inside. It's going to move back a little bit before it comes into focus. And so with these lenses, what I find is easy is get kind of close, focusing it, moving the lens in and out. Then because the focusing is so precise with them, just take your camera and move it back and forth a little bit until it comes into focus, and that will help you get that perfect focus. And you're going to find that with the close-up lenses, that it'll be super bright in the middle, then just get blurry as it goes away. It just kind of blurs out, and it has a really interesting effect because it's just magnifying that image right in the center and kind of letting everything else go to a blur, and it looks very, very cool. Alright, and so you see this has been sitting here the entire time. This is the lid and the shade. It just, the two sides just go over like that, and it holds on itself, so wherever you put it, it should stay. Slide it up and down. This is keeping extra light off the screen. When you're using a camera Obscura, it's important to keep light off the screen. You want to put light on the subject. You would maybe turn the lights off in the room, put a spotlight on what you want to see, or go outside and position yourself in the shade and point the camera Obscura into the sunlight, or inside, point it out the window. It's important to have what you're looking at bright and your screen dim. And you'll see that you'll still be able to see an image even if it's, normal lighting and you just have the shade on and you don't use a spotlight. But you'll see you get a brighter image if you use a spotlight. Experiment with it. You'll see how it works quite quickly. But just remember that basic rule that you want the screen to be dimmer lit than your subject. When you have the Fresnel lens in there, that isn't as important. You get a brighter image regardless of the situation. And so we also have this focus cloth, which is basically just a piece of material that blocks out 100% of sunlight that you can drape over here as well to keep extra light off. So if you're like, say, for example, outside, it's a very bright day, you can't keep the light off your screen. It just, the sun is glaring in from every angle. You can take the cloth, and that will block out the light that you don't want. The white side reflects away heat. The black side lessens glare. So you want the black inside with the image like this, and the white on the outside to reflect away the extra heat. You get there underneath your hood, focus the lens, and you will see your amazing image. Now I'm going to show you how to attach the camera mount. If you got the deluxe camera Obscura, it came with the camera mount, which consists of this piece of wood here, nice little bracket, along with some hardware. And in there you have 2 thumb bolts that have little thumb turns on the top. One is larger than the other. You have 3 washers, 2 that are smaller, and 1 that is quite a bit larger, and a regular bolt, and a wing nut. Then you have these little spacers, a smaller rubber spacer and a larger hard plastic spacer. And so what this does is it holds your camera over the image so you can film the image, take pictures of the image, and capture that historic, magical, irreplaceable camera Obscura image. And it's pretty easy to attach. You see on one end you have this little nub, and on the back of the camera Obscura you have a threaded hole and a regular hole. The nub goes into the regular hole, but first you want to take the smaller of the 2 thumb bolts, throw a washer on there, put the camera mount in there so that the nub goes into the hole, then the thumb bolt through the hole in the wooden bracket and thread it into the hole in the back of the camera obscura. Tighten it. Then you want to take your camera, video camera, still camera, whatever kind of camera you're using, and you're going to attach it up here. And so to do that, take your larger of the two thumb bolts, put a washer on it, poke it through the hole on top. Then you put your rubber spacer, and around the rubber spacer you're going to put the hard plastic spacer. And the hard plastic spacer helps keep it more solid on there. The rubber spacer helps hold it all together. And then you take the bolt and you thread it into the tripod mount in the bottom of your camera. And it fits that easily. And with the rest of these parts, you take the bolt, the small regular bolt, and you put it through the second hole in towards you. Then you put on the large washer and the wing nut, and you turn it and tighten it until it pulls the head of that bolt all the way through. Until it's flush against the wood. Then you loosen it again. And what that does is it allows you to attach your focus cloth around here so that when you're filming or taking pictures, it doesn't keep falling off and you don't have to worry about it and it's blocking out the extra light. And so you adjust this up like the lid up like this so it's not obscuring the view of the screen. You take the focus cloth, fold it in half. Fold in half the long way. Maybe a little bit less than half. You can bring it like that so it drapes down a little bit further. Depends on the size of your camera, different factors. You wrap it around like that so that it keeps the sun out. And so to hold it in place, you loosen the wing nut, bring this larger washer out, wrap it around, and then tuck the ends of the focus cloth underneath there so they are coming down and crisscrossing in there, and tighten that in place. Gives you a little peephole through the top to look at the screen yourself, and allows you to have the camera up there snug. If it depending on your camera, you have to kind of adjust it after you put it on there. Hold up and over, get it on there tight. Some tips with filming a camera obscura's image is that the screen can sometimes confuse an automatic focus because the image on the screen appears to be far away, but really just a few inches away from your camera's lens. And so put it on a manual focus, especially with a video camera, which seem to have more sporadic automatic focusing, sometimes at least with mine. Put it on an autofocus, focus it so it's focusing on the screen. Get the image on the screen focused, sharpen what you want to see, then focus your camera. So first focus the camera obscura, then focus your video or still camera. And that'll make sure you get a clear image. If you're like, for example, if you didn't focus the image on your screen, on your camera obscura first, and peeping through the top here to see that it's focused, then you start trying to focus your regular still camera or video camera, you're never going to get a focus because the image on the screen is blurry. So first focus this image on the screen, then focus with an autofocus your standard camera. Look at the exposure and lighting settings on your camera to find something that looks nice. Then you don't have to do as much editing afterwards, especially with a video camera, to make sure that you're capturing it the way that you want to see it. Just exposure balance and those sorts of things. It can be a little bit different than just filming something directly, but you can get a really nice, vibrant image as you saw in the campaign video doing this. And one other thing is that, as you can see, you're about 6 or 7 inches away from the screen. Depending on your camera, that might be too close for your camera to focus. Every camera that I've used, it hasn't had a problem focusing this distance, but depending on your lens, that could be a problem. So try using a lens that's more of a close-up lens, or even putting a close-up filter over the top of it, and that will allow you to make sure that you can get the screen in focus. And whether you're using your camera Obscura with a camera mount and a camera, or just using it by itself, you can attach it to a standard tripod. On the bottom, there is a standard tripod mount that you can attach on any camera tripod, so you can take it out anywhere you go, or set it up, have it stable for your work. Thank you so much for letting me explain this to you. Go ahead and feel free to contact me if you have any questions, if anything's not clear. And I hope you have a lot of fun out there creating beautiful art and wonderful photos and videos. And I'll post a link below where you can upload pictures of your work, of your photography. And thank you so very much for being a part of this and giving me the opportunity to build these for you. Thank you so much.